Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Podcast. If you can, like us, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, TikTok. We're finally in a place where we can be consistent and start this and build. I didn't want to start, have to stop again, start and stop. So we now can record an episode every week. This is a very new podcast. I mean, we've been doing it for a while, but it's a small podcast. We just want to build. And I know we want to be entertaining, but yet we want to be, have empathy and show respect for the families, victims, and perpetrators when we do true crime. Hoping to branch out, and do a little bit, just some other things. If it's a good story, we want to tell it. I want to kick this off, and I'm going to talk about Maura Murray, and I know everybody's covered it, and we've covered it a few times. It is the case that, in my opinion, kicked off the true crime genre itself. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right, it means it's wrong. That's what got me started into listening to podcasts with the Missing Maura Murray, with Lance and Tim. And, of course, they were on the Oxygen channel. The Disappearance of Maura Murray, that docuseries in 2017, was an amazing documentary. I like them guys. They've always been kind to me, and a big shout out to them. They are, in my opinion, they are some of the true pioneers in the true crime genre. They also have the Empty Frames, well, they got a slew of podcasts now that they're big time for sure. But we've covered the case before, and this case is 20 years old. Maura Murray went missing, and she's never been heard from again. And to be honest with you, I think people was drawn to it just for the mystery and the puzzle of it, because there's certain things that happen, no one can figure out why, or leave a question mark of why she would do this, that. And I think people have an urge to want to solve something or want to figure something out. I'm not going to go through the whole case. There was another podcast I was listening to, and it's a few years old, but they come out with something new every week now. But I mean, the podcast on Maura Murray was done, I think, in 2022, and of course, the Patrit Vasi theory. There's some people that believe that it's possible. Then there's some say that there's no way she could have made it to her car where it was parked, and that is possible. I think it's also possible that could have been a situation where her car was involved, saying necessarily Maura wasn't, or I do believe that Maura could have been involved. But if you don't know the Maura Murray story, I'm not going to do the whole story here. I just want to touch on the timeline, and I want to touch on something that the prosecutor's podcast talked about, and it is the Patrit Vasi theory, and I'm not going to really. It's just a theory. There's no evidence to prove either way. But when I go through this timeline, we're going to talk about certain things that's going to make you say, you're going to think, well, why would you do that, or why would you be this way, or wonder what this was about. And that's kind of what I want to go into as to, in my opinion, there's only one thing that makes everything work. But to give you a little bit of a background, if you haven't heard anything, Maura Murray was a student at UMass Amherst, a nursing student, and she went missing in February of 2004. Now, you kind of got to give a little backstory. I think Maura was going through some things in her life, as anybody else would, and everybody else does. She was a track star. She was a straight A student. She was a very intelligent young woman. And she originally had went to West Point. Now, West Point, I think, was a little. I think it just became a little much, and she was caught shoplifting at a trip to Fort Knox. And it was something simple, lip gloss, something like that. But needless to say, she left West Point and enrolled in the nursing program at UMass Amherst. Now, that in itself is an amazing. That's an amazing school, amazing program. So that in itself is something to be proud of. But she had something going on. And it continued when she got to UMass because she had an issue that came up with using a stolen credit card to buy pizza, Domino's Pizza. Now, it had come out here recently that she was fighting an eating disorder, and that was something maybe like her way of keeping it hidden, as to maybe they wouldn't see the charges on her card, or she maybe was ashamed. But I believe that was the catalyst to kind of that pushed her in the direction to use that stolen card for it, because it was just for that food. But she was going through some stuff. Um, she was drinking, of course, a lot of college kids do, but she had a lot on her mind and a lot going on. Um, so she was coming back for the next semester, um, and she's getting started. She's doing clinicals. I mean, she's in the mix of it. She's doing her school. When she got in trouble for the credit card thing, I think it was like a 3-month probation, or if she didn't get in any more trouble, it would be gone. So, and if she did get any more trouble, that could, uh, definitely hurt her nursing career, because she may not be able to get her license and other things like that. So, where I want to pick up is the weekend before, the Friday, February the 6th. And Mara's at work. She does overnight security, just sits at a desk watching one of the dorms or the rooms, people coming and going. She receives a phone call and is on the phone with her sister, Kathleen, from 10:10 to 10:38. And it was told that Kathleen was basically just coming right out of rehab. And the very day she gets out of rehab, she's going back to drinking. So Mara was upset, but she wasn't upset at that moment. So at 10:38, she gets off the phone, p.m., and from 12:07 to around 12:14, she was on the phone with Bill. I'm going to back up into this timeline when I get done going through the whole thing. So now we're into Saturday morning after midnight. So now at 12:20, that Friday night, early Saturday morning, that is when Patrit Vasi is found laying in the road after a hit and run car hit and run, and he was there. He was drunk, and he was hit, and he was unconscious, and so that's the timeline there. 12:20 is Patrit Vasi. Now here's where 1 a.m. is the first thing that comes up to me that's like, wow. At 1 a.m., Mara's supervisor has to come to get Mara, because she's in a catatonic state. She's awake, but she's not talking. She's mumbling. She's unconsolable. She is all to hell. And the supervisor takes her to her dorm room. Maura, this is the second, Maura lies and says she has a roommate, and she doesn't. And so the supervisor leaves her thinking that her roommate's in there, but she is not. And the only thing that she mumbles to the supervisor is "my sister." But that sister phone call was 2 hours ago or better. Like I said, it's from 10:10 to 10:38. She talked to Bill in between then. And to me, that was the first. I don't think that phone call was about her sister. I don't. I don't think. Well, I'm saying I don't think her being upset at 1 a.m. was about the phone call from her sister. Okay. We're talking a catatonic state. Okay, so she gets to her dorm room. It's Saturday now, and Fred arrives for car shopping. So this is the third. What the hell? So Fred is saying that the Saturn that Mara drives is just a big piece of shit. It won't even hardly run. But what he does is he stops at tons of ATMs on his way to get $4,000 in cash. Now he says it's because he get a better deal with cash, blah blah, whatever. That's odd to me. Um, Now that Saturday evening, 6 p.m., Maura and Fred, they have supper at the Amherst Brewing Company. They supposedly looked for cars between then. Didn't find anything, or found something and it wasn't too much, didn't have enough, whatever, but they didn't find anything. So they leave dinner. Sometime after dinner, they go by the liquor store, get more alcohol. They drop Fred off at his hotel, and Kate, the friend, is with them during dinner. So Kate and Maura drive to a dorm party that in Fred's new Corolla. So instead of Maura bringing the car back to Fred that next morning, she decides to, for some reason, drive it back that night. And at 3:30 a.m., she wrecks the car and causes about $9,000 to $10,000 worth of damage. Now, there's no real police report over this wreck. There is really nothing that Maura didn't get any kind of trouble. She slams into a guardrail. They'd been drinking, but that's speculation. I mean, they went out to dinner, a brewing company, went to the liquor store, and then they went to a party. I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's what you're going to believe, but whoever the officer was, whether it was campus police or whatever, basically let Maura ride with the tow truck driver back to Fred's hotel. She arrived about 5 o'clock. Now, she laid downstairs in the lobby till about 8, and then Fred, she broke the news to him as to what happened with the car. Now, they go Sunday. She plays phone tag with Bill. A couple of voicemails. She don't really want to talk to him. Sends him an email the next day. So Sunday she wrecks the car. He's upset, but it is what it is. So we got Monday the 9th now, just after midnight. Maura starts to look up about condo rentals in Bartlett, New Hampshire. She makes a couple phone calls about condo rentals. She calls 1-800-GHOSTO, which is about condos in Stowe, Vermont. These are some of the things she does during that Monday. About 1:30, 1:13, she calls Aaron O'Neill about dropping some clothes off that she had borrowed. At 1:30, this is another one, she emails her professors stating there's a death in the family and that she's going to be gone for a while, maybe a week. That's a lie. Calls Bill, leaves a voicemail. Around 3 p.m., it's believed that she leaves campus in that shit car that won't run hardly and starts making her way out of town. At 3:15, she stops at her ATM, or the ATM, withdraws $280 out of her account, basically taking it all out. I think it was maybe $16 or $18. At 3:43, she stops at the liquor store. And at 4:37, she calls her voicemail, check her voicemail. That is the last known call for Maura Murray's phone, is Monday, February the 9th at 4:37. Now, about 3 hours later, at 7:27, Faith Westman makes a 911 call about an accident on the road in front of her house. It is Maura. She is spun out, hit a snowbank, whatever. You can find the accident report online. That's not what I'm talking about here. You can go in depth with this case. Many episodes. At 7:30, Butch Atwood drives by in his bus, asks her if she's okay. She says, yes, I've called AAA, but he knows there is no cell phone service there. At 7:43, another call is made to 911 from the Atwood residence. And at 7:46, now some of this is disputed as far as time, because you got witness A, but that's not for this episode. We're just going to go with this. At 7:46, Cecil Smith arrives, first officer on the scene, in SUV 001, and Maura's gone. Nowhere to be seen. Put a bolo out on her at 7:54. Crime scene, or not crime scene, scene was cleared at 8:50. Now, I want to go back and talk about the odd things, the things that don't make sense to me. My opinion. That's all it is. Okay. I find it odd that on Friday or into that Saturday morning at 1 a.m. she's catatonic. Why is she catatonic? But I think the only reason she'd be catatonic is if maybe someone was run over with her car and it's got a front end damage on it now. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay. Because he was hit at 12:20. They say she was on the phone from 12:07 to 12:14. Wouldn't have time to walk or run to her car. But why could she not be on her cell phone with him walking? Oh, Bill, talk to me while I walk across this field or parking lot to get to my car because class was called out. Big snow coming in. I want to move my car closer. I'm in a hurry. So I hit this person. By the time I get back, it has racked my brain so hard of what I've just done or what's happened, how fucked I am. I just ran somebody over while I'm already on probation. I'm in the program. I'm fucked. What the hell am I going to do? I'm fucked. I go into a catatonic state and my mind is fucking wiped. That makes sense. Not my sister. Oh, she started drinking again. Talked to her 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever ago. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Now, what I think could possibly happen, and if you don't like this is a theory that I think, but it also comes straight from the prosecutor's podcast. Listen to it. So now we got the catatonic. She goes to her room. She's in her room. Now she sends an email, talks to her dad, whatever, tells him what happened. There's other phones around there besides her cell phone. Fred says, "Don't. I'll be down. I'll be there. We'll get another car. I'm getting rid of it. It's gone. We'll deal with it." He comes down. He's getting money, cash, because he don't want a paper. You got to register and title, whatever. But he wants cash. He's either going to have this car fixed. He's going to buy another car. Whatever he's going to do. But he needs cash. He's frantically going to different ATMs to pick up cash so he can fix this situation. We don't know if it's. He probably doesn't either. And this is a theory. That's all. This is so he's going to 8 different ATMs to get cash because he knows he's going to need cash. You don't know, I'm not saying he's going to buy a new car. Maybe they're going to fix that car. Whatever it is, fix the situation. We're going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. So he gets there. Everybody gets calm. Okay, it's going to be all right. We're going to fix it. He's not dead. He's going to be okay. He's going to make it. He's in a coma, whatever, rehab. The boy's not going to die, but we got to get that car out of here. The car's got to be gone. Got to go. Cannot be sitting on campus. So they eat. Everybody's got to eat. And everything's fine up until she wrecks his car. Because he's got to go to work. That throws the wrench in the whole process. So now, what happens? So, first thing that was odd to me, the 1 a.m. catatonic state, the Patrit Vasi thing makes sense. Now, the second thing didn't make sense to me was Fred going to a bunch of different ATMs and getting cash out and coming down that Saturday. The Patrit Vasi thing, makes it make sense. Now, when she starts looking for rooms, Fred, I'm gonna say Fred, but this is a theory, I'm just theory. The fact that she's calling places to find condos for rent, the fact that that's odd number one. So what would explain that? I don't know. What would explain it to me? What would explain that? Here's some money. Get out of town for a week. Tell your professors, which is the next one, that whatever, the death in the family, you got to get this car and get out of town so we can figure out what's going on. So, emailing, because she didn't have the $280 ain't going to get you a week in a condo anywhere at all. So, all these condos, that would explain that. Then, the next thing, her leaving campus at 3 o'clock to head to North New Hampshire, where she was actually, the accident was found. Her getting that car and getting herself out of town until they can figure out what to do would make every bit of these scenarios that don't make that much sense make sense as to why everything played out in such a hurry in the fashion that it did. Now, that gets us all the way to the chance that she wrecked. Her wrecking threw everything all into whack, because now her spinning out, now not only is the car going to be, inspected, she was supposedly drinking some wine in the car. So now she's got another issue, another wreck, another hurdle that she's going to have to jump. So does she get in a car with somebody just to get the hell out of there? You know, she had to get the hell out of there. You know, she was wanting to get the hell out of there. So there's several theories that they say picked up by a stranger. They say run off into the woods, which there was no footprints that showed, because there's a big snow. But we're not talking about the crashing land. We're right at the 727 Maura drives. She spins out of control, and she has now wrecked this Saturn that already has this strange damage on it. And this damage on this Saturn, you can read those reports. There's a lot of that damage that they can't explain, because she didn't really hit anything that would line up with what damage was on the car already. So she's in full-fledged fucking panic mode at this point. Panic mode. And, you hear different stories. There's different theories about what happened after the crash. But what I'm talking about right now is what would happen in her life that, in my opinion, would make all these other events that happened make sense. The Patrit Vasi incident is the only thing, in my opinion, that would make all the scenarios make sense up until that point. The catatonic state, it just happened 40 minutes before. The Fred coming down and get all the money out of the ATMs to $4,000, get the car out of Dodge or fixed or gone or something. The third thing, now this is a little bit further out on a limb. When Maura wrecked, some people say, when Maura wrecked the Corolla, the reason that she didn't get in trouble for drinking or anything else like that is because the wreck was staged. She caused it on purpose. She was intentionally not impaired, so she was getting no trouble, just an accident. And that they were going to take the Corolla, and they were going to fix the Saturn in with that Corolla. That's just another conspiracy theory. But they did fix that car on down past where she was not too well. If you can go that way to get where you end up getting that car fixed. But it's just odd, because some of this stuff is so strange. It's like, how can you explain some of these actions up until that state? And to me, now I don't know what happened once she wrecked that car at 725 and she turned that curve. Was she in such a freaked out mode, like, holy shit, now they're going to see this car? I have been drinking this. I had to get this car out. Nobody can see this car. I've got to get this car out of here. That she just bails on it and like gets in the car with somebody she shouldn't have. That's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, who would be tandem driving to follow her that would end up killing her? I mean, the only other thing would be if someone else wrecked Maura's car. They're driving up together to get it fixed, because it's in Fred's name. He could be in trouble. And they wreck it, and Maura's like, I'm not going down for this. And they're like, yeah, that's fine, whatever. And they end up killing her. But, I mean, you may think that sounds strange, but, I mean, we're talking about a hit and run. And we're also, poor Maura, her mental capacity at this point. I mean, look at all the shit gets kicked out of West Point for stealing. She gets in trouble for using a stolen credit card. Then she's wrecked her dad's car. it's it's all piling on at once. And I think this 725 spin out was the straw that broke the camel's back. And her decision making process after this was flawed tremendously. And she went and done. She had to get away from the car at all costs, is what she was thinking probably. Because Faith Westman did say she saw a flurry of activity at the trunk of the vehicle. And Maura was gone. Within 7 to 10 minutes, Maura Murray was there and then gone forever. That's insane to me. I have the utmost respect for Fred and Julie and the family. This is just a story. This is just a theory. This is just, it's like in my mind, it's like you sit and you read and you watch things on these cases, and these are real family members to people. These are stories to us, but these are members of their family. This is their loved ones. So I always keep that in mind. But as this story is this case, this poor girl's been missing for 20 years, and the things that happened right before, and let's not talk about the crash or her spinning out. I was more along the lines of what in the world would explain every one of these strange events in her life leading up to her leaving and having this crash. And in my mind, the only thing that makes sense is that she, or at the very least her car, was used to hit Patrit Vasi. Like I said, watch the or listen to the prosecutors. They go a little bit more in depth to it in this. This is a theory. This is just a story to tell. There's no facts or anything that are attached to this. This is just me talking to you about some of the things that are strange, and in my mind, what would kind of make sense as to what would cause her to act and be this way. And it's that. But thank you for listening. We're going to try to broaden out. We're going to try to do something other. Not always do true crime. Interesting stories, because you got to be entertaining. You got to be. You just got to be entertaining. It's got to be good content. That's the whole. And you may not like it, and that's fine. But hopefully, we'll get better if you don't like it. But if you don't like it, you probably won't watch it again. Or listen, whatever. But I enjoy doing it. I enjoy reading these stories. I enjoy trying to gain as much information. And I'm not right. I'm not saying I'm right. I just wanted to kind of put that out there and just see what you think. I mean, I know that some of the like Maura Murray Reddit threads or whatever, they'll rip your fucking head off. They're mean motherfuckers, man. They're mean. And all I'm saying is, what if? Just something to think about. So it's wrong. It's not right. You don't know. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. But it's just something to think. Just, that's all it is. Just keep telling her story. Uh, Keep her relevant. She'll always be relevant. She is, it's just, you think, like, what was going through her mind, It's like, if you go back in time, just, I don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, just to feel that you can almost, if you sit there and think about it, just the stress and the pressure that she was under with all the stuff that was going on, which I know people bring on some of it. I'm not saying that she didn't cause some of it or whatever. I'm just saying people are human. People make mistakes, and I don't know. This case just has always bothered me, because I just, it's been 20 years, and the what happened? What happened? This is the weekly podcast.